Okay, Belmin, so now we are at all the hardware that was installed. So, can you enlighten the audience on what those four pieces of hardware are and all the piping that goes along with it?
Absolutely. So the easiest way to follow this is the bottom pipe was the hard water, untreated water coming from the city. Coming around this way, you can see it goes through this little intricate shut-off system. It's called a three-way bypass. And the main use case for this is I can send hard water in, I can get my treated water back, but in the case I need to service these filters or do any work, I can actually turn them off and open up the bypass, which means that if somebody's using water actively in a house and I need to come out here to change a filter or do something, I can do so without interrupting the house. Now, what we've done, you can see this pipe that goes straight across, actually goes into a tank of carbon first. It gets dechlorinated, so there's no chlorine, ammonias, acids, all kinds of stuff in the
So
water.
the carbon, like the carbon in your refrigerator
That's
filter.
exactly the one. That's exactly, well, same style of carbon, just way better quality. It's called catalytic activated carbon. It's a very high quality carbon.
And that's that one on the right.
That's that one, yeah. Then we send it through a sediment pre-filter, which removes soot, rock, debris, dirt, and any large particle out of the water. We then send it through a conditioner, which takes the buildup that's coming into the house, and it's essentially stopping it or preventing it from building up inside of the pipes and water heaters. Because everybody's concern is you buy this house with brand new plumbing. It's one of the biggest reasons why people want to buy a new home. They want a new water heater, they want new appliances. You don't want to let hard water enter there and just devastate everything. So out of this, then we send it through a filter called a KDF 85 filter. KDF is a must if you're out in the valley over here. Between the alerts that we're getting in Vacaville for hexavalent chromium, between the well-known fact that there's arsenic presence in water, we should just avoid bathing in chemicals if we can avoid to do that. And that's what this KDF filter does, is it handles that problem.
Okay, data point. Everything we're saying about city water is times 10 for well water, correct?
Absolutely. It's unregulated. Yeah. So whatever we see issues with and this is truly, I've witnessed this, where I've seen in parts of Vacaville, nitrates get into the 4 or 5 parts per million range. You then go to a private well where it's triple, quadruple that, which is beyond legal limits, by the way.
So end result, you have the well water, which could be a nightmare. You've got the municipal water untreated,
Yep.
which let's just say is suboptimal.
Right.
So if you had to give us a quick summary on the whole system that you've just discussed and what we will discuss momentarily on the
Yes.
reverse osmosis, let's go from worst to best, just with some simple data points on the well water versus the municipal water versus the whole house conditioned water with those four filters and including the reverse osmosis, so people can understand what the ultimate benefit is to them in dishwashing, cooking,
Absolutely.
bathing.
Well, the easiest, if we're familiar with grading systems. So if I gave you a grading systems from A to F, I would say that majority of the well water that I test comes in between a C minus to a D minus. That's not nice. Those are not passing grades.
Unhealthy.
Yeah, extremely unhealthy. Potential for bacteria, high nitrates, chemical content, not nice on the skin. Municipal water, we tend to see them in the B minus range, I would say, where it's like, okay, it's getting there. It's a lot better. It's usable. But as far as being a health nut and trying to be healthy and preventative and not reactive, when you go through a system like this, you end up in the A grade, maybe an A minus, because I still wouldn't feel 100%, hoorah about drinking it. And then when you get through that reverse osmosis, which we'll show later, it's definitely an A plus. You can't do better than that.
Okay, so let's talk about one more thing, and you don't have to shift your position.
Okay.
It seems the default installation in the industry might be installing it on the stucco.
Absolutely.
And to me, as a 52-year realtor, breaching the stucco in a brand new house is suboptimal at best,
Yep.
especially when you consider that under new construction code, at least in Dixon, those corner posts are decorative around the galvanized pipe in 2 feet of concrete. So your man, Oscar Martinez, on his own, brought that redwood cross member and attached everything to the wood,
Absolutely.
which I think is a much better standard of practice in terms of ease of installation, permanence, and servicing the unit, your comment has my epiphany changed what possibly could be the standard of practice.
It really is. It really is. Now we were never crazy about anchoring into stucco. It just doesn't hold right. But it's depending on the age of home and location, people are hesitant because they got old raggedy, 30-year-old fencing. In a situation like this where the fence was done right and it's stable and it's solid, especially with more reinforcement, this is not going anywhere. This is the right way to do it. Absolutely.
Very good. So let's go on to reverse osmosis. Hang in there with us. Here we are with Belmin yet again, and we're going to prevent him from having to be on one knee like Colin Kaepernick in the NFL. And point to me what we have underneath there.
So two pieces of equipment that create the reverse osmosis unit. So you have your main set of filters, and in this case, they're all actually tucked behind this little magnetic panel. That's where all the water gets purified before it comes out up top. But there's a storage tank in the back here, so that way you have an on-demand, available, clean water. So that way you're not being left stranded if some kind of cutout happens or whatever the case is. You always have that 2-gallon reserve.
2-gallon reserve,
Yes,
which
sir.
should be plenty for drinking water.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's a ton.
And you don't need the faucet for the reverse osmosis to clean because you have your conditioned faucet.
Exactly right.
Okay, good. We'll let you get off your Colin Kaepernick pose there. Hello world, it's John Pinto, your roving realtor, bon vivant, home chef, raconteur, with Belmin Skender from AAA Water Systems. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
In Concord.
Concord, main office.
Yes, and Belden just helped me with a whole house water conditioning system and reverse osmosis. That's a mouthful, and I was figuring the first thing we're going to discuss is how shocked and surprised I was by the very low bar that the feds, the state, the county, municipalities, and water districts require for what they consider to be acceptable water, which is not acceptable to me. Can you enlighten us on that, Belmin?
Absolutely. So I think the starting point would be this, is first understanding why the rules are there in the first place. I think a lot of people I've done it myself, out of self-importance will say, well, the water needs to be this good. The reality of it is that water and its use cases wildly vary from what we assume in our head. We think that we need the entire Lake Tahoe reserved for ourselves because that's what we're going to be drinking. When in reality, you have town after town, city after city, wildfire after wildfire. They need water, and it's not going to just come out of thin air. So most of the water that is actually produced by the city, I think right now the numbers are like 10 or 20% is what ends up being used inside of a house. It's a good majority of 80+% is used for your lawn. It's used for parks and recreation. It's used for fire mitigation and prevention and then actually stopping the fire.
So water that people consume inside their houses is a poor stepchild.
Exactly. A neglected one, absolutely. So it's kind of rough when you come from the lens of, well, why can't the state and why can't the city do better? I'm sure they could. I just think that the way the infrastructure is set up right now, they're doing pretty damn good.
But it's too expensive to process all the drinking.
That's exactly right. To actually create drinking water, which is what we consider drinking water, purified water, you'd have to have dedicated water lines ran through each house, separate from what they use for irrigating. Most likely separate from what they would use for bathing. So the idea is possible. All of this is possible. The problem is of feasibility. And so the state and city sit back and go, well, if you want to have a $3,000 water bill, you can always lean back on feasibility, and that's the easy kind of out of all of this.
Okay, so let's get some low-hanging fruit on what the particulate matter is and the potential contaminants in water. Let's go top 5, top 10 without overwhelming our audience as to the ones that they need to be aware of in order of priority.
Absolutely. I would say, very simply put, it depends on where you live, but let's just say within this region of Solano and greater San Joaquin Stanislaus, we look outside, especially in the midst of harvesting, and you hear tractors, you hear the farming going on. You drive around, you see orchards everywhere. The easiest one to pick on is not the agriculture industry, but what's happening with the chemicals that are used or processed, or what we get as kind of the output of that, which is arsenic, nitrates, chromium. Those are really the big three that I would set as immediate not danger, but immediate on your radar of
And
unhealthy, man.
We
for
won't
sure.
dive into the rabbit hole of what they can do to you.
Absolutely.
What's the next group of particulate matter and quote unquote contaminants?
I would actually, and this is a weird one because we live in a first world country, which makes this like an amazing thing that we don't have bacteria in our water. But we also live in a first world country where we have first world problems, which is the disinfecting chemicals. If they were able to use chemicals to kill microorganisms, which is the bacteria in our wells and our water, we are much greater than that, but it will cause other side effects with us. So when you have things like chlorines, ammonias, TTHMs, chloroform, there's a ton of byproducts that come through the world of water treatment that are just not pleasant.
Okay, so let's make a little shift. You basically fall into a couple of different categories. Category number one is buying bottled water.
Right.
We're not going to comment on how bottled water compares to conditioned and reverse osmosis water.
Right.
Let's just tag into the expense and the microplastics.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that the water is wonderful in the sense that they're going through very similar processes of what it took to get here. But yeah, as far as plastics go, if you just step back for a second and think about how did they even make that bottle, and you think about the petroleum that's required to make plastics, if somebody gave you, if somebody actually defined to you how that bottle was made and said, hey, we're going to put your water in something that came about using oil, are you okay with drinking out of oil cups? You would say, I don't want that. That's what it is. That's how you make plastics. I mean, it's an amazing material, but there's a big but to it. It's probably not the best way to go as
Forever
far as
microplastics.
100%. Stuff
So
is not great for us.
on a family, say 2 to 5 people, just a range, how much would those people be paying for bottled water?
I just witnessed a family of 2 that was paying $40 a month getting 5-gallon jugs delivered. So just easily double that for a family of 4. So you're probably looking at between $40 to $80 a month.
Okay, so $1,000. So depending upon what you get in conditioned water mechanisms and reverse osmosis, you can have a fairly good ROI, return on investment, and
absolutely.
a return of investment pretty quick.
The biggest one that's priceless is your health. That would be an immediate one. But even on the functioning, the cost side of it, yeah, 80% return per year. That's solid.
Okay, good. So before we go further, tell people how to spell your name. Where are you from originally?
Southern Europe, former Yugoslavia.
Former Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
What about currently?
Currently, I live in the Shingle Springs area, so Sacramento region.
But what is the former?
Former Bosnia.
Bosnia.
Yes.
Okay, and tell us how to spell your Bosnian
Yes,
name.
Belmin.
Belmin.
That's first name.
That's pretty easy. And what's the last name?
Skender, Skender.
Okay, and for our audience that would like to text, message, or call you,
Absolutely.
what is the cell phone
Yes,
number?
best phone number 925-490-4600.
Very good. So what we're going to do is just pause for a moment, and then we're going to shift over to the RO system.
Yeah.
Okay, don't get lost. We'll be right back. Okay, so here we are with Belmin. Now we're outside, and I was talking to Belmin a couple of weeks ago about where the water originates and how the untreated water just does a beating on my appliances, my plumbing, my faucets, my water heater. It just beats the hell out of it. So, Belmin, tell us about where the water originates, and when we're done with this portion, we'll go in the back of the fence and see what's on the other side of those copper pipes.
Absolutely. Well, like the biggest fear that people have when they call a company out to do plumbing work, especially on a brand spanking new house, is, are you about to replumb my whole house? Are you going to mess up all the plumbing? And it's actually minimally intrusive. So as of right now, what it looks like down here, main water line comes down this way, it rolls up, and actually it goes straight into the wall. What we do here is we don't mess with any of the fire suppression. We don't mess with any of the irrigation. We take a small cutout here where we can send the hard water that's untreated, that's chlorinated, all of that stuff that's not nice for the house or skin. We send it out this way, and then the treated water comes back and it makes its way back into the same exact inlet that it would have from the start.
Oh, so that's not an extra inlet.
This is nothing new. This is all factory, including what's entering the wall. Only this portion is what we did.
Very good. Before we go on to see the handiwork of all the items that were installed, is there anything you want to add to this part of the narrative?
I think it's just important to know that what we do here is not voiding warranties. It's not causing insurance nightmares. We're not flooding homes and breaking walls, and we prefer not to do that. And you'll see where we did the install with the help of John here, with his suggestions, that it's minimally invasive to your house, because we don't want to fix a problem and cause two others.
Got it. Okay, let us move on then. And here we are with Belmin again, from AAA Water Systems. And we are here with the reverse osmosis faucet or dispenser, or what do you call it?
Faucet. Yeah,
faucet?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. And I'm going to go ahead and show you something. Everybody is dehydrated. And this is my Breville, the tea maker. Breville, the tea maker. And the beauty is right out of the reverse osmosis faucet, you can fill out your tea maker, your coffee maker, your espresso maker, your water bottle, and stay properly hydrated. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, I've got my carafe from my Breville grind control coffee maker. I usually have maybe about 20 ounces of coffee in the morning, and then 64 to 96 ounces of tea. Yeah. And then, of course, I've got my Germain of Nothing Carroll Gardens cookbook from my old neighborhood, Red Hook Carroll Gardens in Brooklyn. But let's get back to the task at hand. So, Belden, when you're talking to clients that not only want conditioned water and reverse osmosis healthy drinking water, how often does the concept of proper hydration and improper dehydration come up?
Surprisingly, not too often, and it's honestly a worry, because I had that conversation with you, and it's a big point. And what's an interesting point to that is you go around a house with bottled water, and there's something you'll find. You'll find half-open bottles everywhere. Mm-hmm. So that definitely speaks volumes to people not drinking enough. You'll crack a bottle open, start drinking, and you forget about it, and you don't come back to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll give you some personal experience. I had a good friend of mine, who was taken to the emergency room, and his diagnosis was he was simply dehydrated.
I believe it.
And I had been somewhat reluctant to drink water because then you have to make plenty of stops in the bathroom. But the last time I went to get my lab work done, prior to the last time, I noticed I had diminished kidney function. But all my other lab work was right down the line.
Yeah.
So I got a hydro flask, a free commercial for hydro flask. I got a 32 ounce for myself and a 40 ounce for Ellen. Hers I fill up once a day with liquid IV electrolytes. And for me, I usually fill my hydro flask up with either just plain water or some kind of artisanal tea. Especially with the formerly diminished kidney function, I get dandelion root tea. And I felt that after my kidney function was suboptimal, after hitting 64 to 96 ounces of dandelion root tea, and maybe just water would work too, I was very pleased to see my kidney function return to normal. I was able to do that. So what parting shots do you have to our audience?
Now, speaking of that, if you actually start maintaining your health through water consumption, if you decide not to go this route and you decide to use your alternative reverse osmosis, which is bottled water, you'll be making not just frequent stop to the restroom, but you'll be going to Costco and Walmart and Target buying bottled water. That's a serious amount of water to be drinking 90 plus ounces a day. Think about doing that every single day and how many bottles of water you're going to find around the house, how often you'll be stopping at the store. It becomes a chore, and it's why most people are dehydrated. Versus this is not a chore. To go to your kitchen and just whip it up and down and you got water. I mean, that's as convenient as it's going to get.
And I set up my tea, coffee, and espresso station right across from the AAA water systems.
That's right.
Reverse osmosis faucet, and it's very convenient.
And remember too, we are not, this is not an episode of Breaking Bad. When I ask people, where do you guys drink from? They go right here, or in this case, bottled water. I say, what about cooking? Oh, we cook with this. Well, you're not gonna boil away chemicals, right? We're not chemists over here. We're not gonna have a fine-tuned kitchen to boil any of the fertilizers or anything else out of the water. Please cook with the same water you consume.
Okay, so
Very important.
So let me clarify. So even though I've got conditioned water coming out of my faucet,
right,
you recommend using the reverse osmosis
Absolutely.
water to both consume and to cook with.
100%.
And of course, tea and coffee.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, so one more time, Belmin, how do people get a hold of you by
Absolutely.
cell?
Yeah, reach out to me at 925-490-4600. That's my direct cell. Call or text me anytime and I'll get right back to you guys.
Yeah, and if you want Belmin and I to do a seminar for your trade group, your neighborhood group, your senior citizen group, what have you, we are happy to do so.
Absolutely.
So, and you can always call me if you're looking to buy, sell, or exchange any real estate in the San Francisco Bay Area, 408-829-4141. Bye for now.